Welcome to a new Sonoff review video, and as you can see I'm looking at a camera and this is the Slim Gen2 camera from Sonoff, and this is the third generation of cameras from Sonoff. I've reviewed the first one, which was a little bit bigger. It's a slightly different form factor camera, and then the Slim came out, and this is the Slim Gen2. So it has all the features. I mean, it inherited most of the features from the Slim camera, but it also had added a lot of additional features, mostly like security features, like you can put the camera on sleep, you can add a privacy zone as well. But then it has added the human motion detection, so it can actually identify on the stream that there is a human, so you can set it up to create recordings only when a human is detected. But what I'm most interested about is its ability to create recordings based on trigger from external sensors, and these are Zigbee, motion, or door sensors, or actually Zigbee buttons as well. So when I looked at camera in the past and when they had motion recording, I was always looking for cameras which has a built-in motion sensor, a PIR sensor, because especially if you are using outdoor cameras, just looking at the image picks up so many false positives, like moving branches, shadows moving, the rain falling. So this doesn't have a PIR motion sensor, but at least they have added the capability of triggering off an external motion sensor that you have in the Zigbee system, which is a good idea because if you don't need it, well, it's not in the camera, so you don't pay for that feature, or the hardware, which, I mean, nowadays it costs next to nothing, but regardless, it's not included in the camera, but you still have the option to do it. And maybe because it's an external sensor, it also gives you opportunities to set it up in a slightly different way. So let's say you have a really big room, you want to set up motion sensor, but then let's say the camera motion sensor would not pick up persons or moving objects far in the distance, but now you can put that motion sensor far away out, and then you can rely on the the camera to use that in order to start recording when, let's say, somebody is coming from far away. I mean, whether you want to record that, the person is obviously going to be very small, but if that's your scenario, now you can do it. And also you can replace that motion sensor with a door sensor. So again, you have a big room, like a warehouse or something, and this camera can just point on the door, or sort of that area, like a bigger area, just give an overview, and then it would just start recording whenever somebody is opening the door. So there are definitely merits in this application, or the way it is being used, the external trigger. So for me, that feels a bit like the out-of-the-box thinking, and maybe that's the kind of option or feature that somebody could be looking for. Now, if I show you in the EV-Link application, the camera itself, I get this warning because I'm using the screen recording. So you see most of the usual features that you expect from the camera. So you can obviously look at the feed, and actually the feed looks very responsive. So it's very quick. So I'm moving the camera around, and then the image moves almost instantaneously. The image looks nice, and there is a lot of colors and brightness, and then it reacts to various screen conditions very quickly. So that's good. And by the way, the reason this is marked as a 3D camera or 3D printer, because it is a small enough unit. So I think I'm just going to mount it just above my 3D printer, because on my desk I have a NS Panel Pro, and in this NS Panel Pro I can basically just call up this camera feed. So now I can have an eye on what my 3D printer is doing in my utility room. So you can see the feed is there on the NS Panel Pro. Now, so that's a nice feature. I always find it very refreshing that you can use the NS Panel Pro to look at footage very easily, and I think that's a nice feature. So I already use it to sometimes look at the camera, which is looking at the the entry, if there is somebody that I expect to come, but I'm not sure when they are coming. So I just have this feed here next to my screen, so I can keep an eye on that. Before we go ahead, let me just show you two things. Well, we are going to look around the camera, but first let me change the view because I have this screen set up here that shows you the difference between this Gen 2 model and the Gen 1 model. As you can see, the the Wi-Fi is the same. They have used the QR code pairing, which is a QR code on the side of the device. And then it inherited most of the features and it added human detection. So that's the human recognition, like, AI recognition within the camera. You can set active zones, so you can limit the part of the screen where the camera should be looking for either motion or human. You can put in the sleep mode, so it turns off recording and turns off the camera altogether. And then this privacy zone where you can black out part of the image that you don't want to be recorded for privacy reasons. So these are fairly meaningful changes, I think. This is sort of the changes that we expect from IP cameras nowadays. And if you look at the device, well, first of all, I like the fact that it's very small. Oops, you can see it in my hand. It's, the camera body is small. We have a microphone hole there, and then a small light, and a couple of grills for speakers and microphones, and probably managing heat. And you have this small mount that you can put on the wall with, it has some screw mounting holes, and then the whole thing swivels. So you can, mount it on a wall and then have it look down. Probably the only restriction you have is that this USB cable, which is sticking out. But if you want really flush mount against the wall or something, then you can replace it with a 90-degree USB cable, which, to be honest, I think this is what I will do as well if I can't get it really flush to the wall, because maybe I want it to look down like that. I'm going to mount it like upside down, but then the cable is going to be in the way. And in terms of connections or anything, you have a reset button here, and on the other side you have the QR code and the place for the micro SD card. So that's it. That's basically all the the hardware and everything in it. You can see some stats, nothing special. It comes with a USB-C cable, USB-A to USB-C, but it doesn't come with an adapter, so you have to supply your own adapter for that. Hi there. Okay, so let's ask this camera for some focus, and we got focus. Wonderful. Okay, so now we can look at the user interface. Yeah, hi. Okay, so I already mentioned the main, controls. Just under the screen here, you have, take a screenshot of recording. You can do two-way audio, and you can also mute the EV-Link part of it. It's not working at the moment because I'm doing the screen recording, but that's, standard functionality. And with the buttons, you can, an essential feature, audio alarm, something that I never use, so you can enable that. You can go into the albums where you can look at the footages, and well, we have two options here. We have the local recordings, and what's funny for me that every time I come here, I don't see anything, but I know that there are local recordings on this device. But you can also, sign up for a cloud storage. You can see the price. Oh, why doesn't it show the prices at the moment? Oh, okay, now you can see the prices, and you get these options. But yeah, you can decide whether you want to do that. But then if you go to the playback, you can also view your recordings here. So, obviously that's going to be limited to the SD card size, and, maybe some of the features are going to be missing, but it is there. And at this point, I would like to address something which I don't like about this camera, or at least I don't like about the user. I think it's more like a user interface thing. So I'm hoping that they would be able to fix this with a firmware update, or maybe not even a firmware update, but the update to the EV-Link application. So what you see here on the screen is an event recording, because in that cabinet up there, let me go back to this video. So in the cabinet, which is up there that I'm, reaching into, there is a motion sensor. So when I opened that cabinet door, the motion sensor triggered, and that motion sensor started the recording on this camera that you can see here. And actually you can see that it actually started the recording before I opened the cabinet and before the motion sensor is triggered. So that's a really nice touch. And here on the timeline, you can also see this green bar, which indicates when that recording was made. But I can see this recording now, even though the center of the screen is not on the recording. So I mean, like, I move the center of the screen or the marker onto the recording and it says no videos found. But if I move it back like 20 minutes, like here or somewhere here, then at some point it starts playing. Or if I go back to the previous day where I have no recordings at all, and I come back to the current day, then it will start playing. So yeah, I have no idea what's going on here, but the screen and the recordings and the center of that screen and the marker is, you know, nowhere in sync. And I don't know, maybe it's only me or my time zone or something. So if you have experienced anything like this, I would be really happy that if you can, you know, tell me if it is working for you, and maybe it's not working for me for some reason. But that's what it is, and it makes it really difficult to look at the recording. So if I go back to, I think, the 12, then I think I was playing around with this and I created multiple of these events. And yeah, now it's just thinking. Okay, now I've created 2 of these events. And you can see now, like, if I want to look at this event, then I can't. I mean, it says no videos. But it shows that there is an event recording. And if I go to the other one, yeah, again, nothing. So yeah, but now if I move it here in the middle of nowhere, then all of a sudden it starts playing a video. So, and there is nothing like, you know, go to the next recording or a previous recording. You can only do dates. And here on the selection screen, it doesn't even, or the date, it doesn't show me which. I mean, normally you see like some of the days are marked when there are recordings. There is nothing here. So yeah, the UI is not really doing good, to be honest. And the other thing you can do on the screen, you see these motion detection, human detection event, device event recordings, because you can set up the camera to do all these type of recordings, and they would be marked in the timeline with different colors. So that's very nice, it's very helpful, and you can turn on some of them if you are only interested in event recordings. So for example, you might configure this camera to record whenever human is detected, but then also record whenever, you know, an external sensor is triggered. And then the timeline would be able to tell you with, you know, will show you yellow ones and green ones whenever, you know, each of the events triggered. So it's a nice view, but this misalignment issue is just making me very nervous. But as I said, we don't judge a product about, you know, what they can do and how they can improve the firmware, but we are looking at the functionality which is available now. And not to mention that there has been an update to this the firmware of the camera, because I have it on my desk for about 3 weeks now. So that was all about the playback and everything. And then we can go into the settings. So I can set up this device event. So that's the one which is configured. And you can see that I enabled it. I enabled push notification, which just means that I get notifications that the device event got triggered. And this is where I can select the sensor. And as you can see from the colors, I can tell that it is supporting Zigbee motion sensors, door sensors, buttons, and also the old RF bridge. So these are the old 433 megahertz, you know, old radio battery operated devices. So you can all use all these to trigger recording, but you can only pick one. So that's another oddity, because to be honest, I think it would, at least if you're using external devices, it would make much more sense to use multiple. Like you have a big area that you want to cover, and then you might want to place, you know, 2 motion sensors on looking at certain entry points or door sensors. So I'm not really sure why they have restricted to one single sensor, but that's how it works at the moment. And then you have the options for motion detection, motion detection and motion recordings, where again you can select whether it should just look at the recording and then decide whether motion is detected, which, I mean, I had reservation on that, but this is an indoor camera and these things work much better in indoor scenarios. Or you want, you know, specifically humans. So if it sees a human, then it will say, okay, I can see a human, I'm going to do recording. And you can set up detection zones. So you can, limit the area where you want that motion to be detected. Nope. And you can set up sensitivity. You can also select periods. So let's say you want only, if you are monitoring like a small office or something, then you can also only restrict it to do it during the daytime, or maybe, or only do it in the evenings when you are not supposed to see anyone in the office. And push notification if you want to receive extra notification in the app when motion is detected. So actually, yeah, I haven't saved that. And the next feature is sleep, which is just puts the camera to sleep, meaning that it stops recording, it stops the live view, and it would just, not work, but you can wake it up at any point. So yeah, that's cool. And then we have some more settings here in the three dots. So latest version, assignment sharing, there is the usual stuff. Indicator, so you can turn off this blue light if you want to. Cloud storage, you can do the subscription here as well. You have access to the motion detection menu from here as well. Local recording, and that's just about the SD card, which is on the side of the device here. And you can do the formatting and everything here. And on top of that, you can also set up the continuous recording. So that's what appeared as blue in the history, in the, with the timeline and the different color markers. So you can set it up to do full time or also scheduled. So again, certain parts of the day, you want this to record continuously, you can do it here. And yeah, that's the local recording. And rotate if you have the camera upside down. There are some more settings where you can set up volumes, and then you can even schedule the sleep mode. So it would automatically turn off certain periods of the day. You can enable an RTSP stream on this camera, so it would be possible to integrate it into like third-party recording systems. And the privacy zone, so you can select an area of the video that you want to black out for security or privacy reasons. And watermark, yeah. And a couple more settings. Night vision, I always leave this on auto. And alarm settings, if you want, some alarms to be created whenever, what the alarm volume want that to be. And so you have like three, well, not volume, sorry, the chime or alarm audio, and when to sound that alarm. So that's not something that I ever use, so I haven't really gone into that. But you can have this to siren. You can use it as a siren. I'm not really sure how effective it's going to be. It's probably just going to be more annoying than anything else. But you have this functionality, so you might want to use it if you want. So you can use it if you want to. And that pretty much concludes all the different features in the app. One thing I want to show you also that there are some meaningful scenes in this camera that you can do. So the first thing is we see what sort of events this camera can fire. So smart device, 3D printer. So as you can see, you can set this up to trigger a scene if motion in general motion is detected, or if a person is detected. It really depends on what you set up in the motion detection sub settings that we have seen before. So you can use this to set up a scene that, if a motion is detected, then you turn a light on, and or a person is detected. Actually, I'm missing one thing here which says no more motions detected, because it's not going to send you a message like that. So the only thing you can do with this scene is that, let's say you turn the lights on, and then with a set amount of delay you turn it off, because the camera is not going to tell you when it's not detecting motion or person anymore. And let's also see what we can do with this camera. So if you use another device to trigger this scene, and then on the action side, smart device, 3D printer, so you can put it into sleep. So for example, if you have a security setup within the Sonoff system, so once you enable the security, let's say, Then you put the camera to a live view, and when you disable the security, you put it onto sleep. So if you place this camera indoors, well, it is an indoor camera, but anyways, if it's looking at some, inside of the house, you can use this function to configure that it only starts recording, and actually it's only active when you have the securities on, but when the security system is off, so unarmed, then it's not going to, let's say, spy on you or create recordings on you. So that's again a nice feature. And you can also use this to enable and disable audio alarm. So that's the audio alarm on the device. And I was struggling to think about a use for this, but you can also use maybe this camera as an extended door chime. So you have a button where somebody pushes when they ring the doorbell, so you can set up a scene which enables the alarm on this device, maybe enables for 10 seconds and turn it off. So if this camera happens to be in a part of your house which is maybe far away from the door chime and you don't necessarily hear it, then that's going to sound an alarm as well. Pretty much how you can use, let's say, the NS Panel Pro as well to be a doorbell. So that also can play a doorbell chime. I'm not really sure if you would be able to find a chime here in this, or like a sound here in the camera, which is going to be more like a doorbell. But in hindsight, I think probably the main thought behind this functionality would be that if, let's say, one of the camera, you have multiple of these slim cameras, and one of them detects motion where you want to sound an alarm, then you can have a scene which just sounds the alarm on all other cameras as well. So it's not only the one which detects the motion that plays the alarm, but all the cameras around your house. So yeah, that could be something that you want to use. Again, I don't think that the sound and the speaker on these small cameras is going to be any deterrence, but you have the functionality and you might as well just use it. But I think that pretty much concludes my review of this Sonoff Slim 2 camera. If this made you curious and you are interested in purchasing this device, there is going to be an affiliated link down in the video description. But I think that will be all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.